Have you ever stood in line at your local coffee shop, watching a single barista rush to keep up with a dozen orders, and wondered why this is happening so often? Or tried calling a plumber, only to hear they're booked for weeks? You're not imagining it. Across the United States, something remarkable is unfolding. Millions of workers have seemingly vanished from the labor force. America is facing a workforce crisis, one that affects everything, from businesses struggling to fill positions, to prices rising at the store, to the very pace of economic growth. Where did all these workers go? And what does this mean for the future of jobs, the economy, and everyday life? Today, on News Nexus, we're taking a closer look at America's shrinking workforce, the forces behind it, the impact on our lives, and the changes it may bring to the way we work and live. Let's start with the facts. The U.S. labor force participation rate, the percentage of working-age Americans who are employed or actively seeking work, has dropped significantly over the past few years. In early 2020, before the pandemic struck, roughly 63.4% of Americans were part of the labor force. Today, that number hovers around 62%. At first glance, that may not seem dramatic, but it represents millions of missing workers. The effect is visible in everyday life. Restaurants are understaffed. Retail stores are struggling to hire cashiers. Delivery services are stretched thin. Hospitals, schools, and essential services are also facing critical shortages. Economists and business owners are asking the same question. Why are so many people not returning to work? A large part of the answer lies in the COVID-19 pandemic. During the pandemic, millions of Americans stepped away from the workforce for health, for safety, and for family reasons. Women were hit particularly hard. With schools closed and daycare centers shuttered, countless women had to leave jobs to care for children. Many initially planned to return once conditions improved, but for many, temporary leave became permanent. Older workers were also affected. Many over the age of 55 retired earlier than expected. The pandemic accelerated what experts call early retirement trends. Health risks, personal priorities, and financial security all played a role in these decisions. Even now, years after the worst of the pandemic, the labor force hasn't fully recovered. Those who left haven't returned at the pace economists predicted, leaving gaps across multiple industries. Another key factor is the rise of remote work and the reevaluation of life priorities. The pandemic showed that many jobs can be done from home. This newfound flexibility has led workers to reconsider what they want from a career. Some are leaving high-stress, in-person jobs for remote positions that offer more balance, less commute, and better quality of life. Others are exploring freelancing, gig work, or small business ownership. This shift is about choice and autonomy. Workers are no longer willing to accept long hours, low pay, or unsafe conditions when alternatives exist. Employers are being forced to rethink how they attract and retain talent, beyond personal choices. Structural factors also play a role. Many industries are facing a skills mismatch. Jobs are available, but workers may not have the training or experience required. Take trades like plumbing, carpentry, and electrical work. There is high demand, yet fewer young people are entering these professions. Vocational programs have declined over decades, leaving industries with shortages. Even in sectors like technology and healthcare, jobs are growing faster than the number of qualified candidates. Automation and new technologies have changed the skills landscape. The workforce is evolving, and not everyone has kept up. America's demographics are another factor in the shrinking workforce. The population is aging, and the number of young workers entering the labor force is not enough to replace retirees. Immigration has historically helped fill labor gaps, particularly in industries such as agriculture, hospitality, and construction. However, recent policy changes and global events have slowed immigration, intensifying labor shortages in key sectors. In short, there simply aren't enough workers entering the labor force to meet demand. The consequences of a shrinking workforce are wide-reaching. For businesses, labor shortages often mean higher wages to attract and retain employees. While this is good for workers, it also raises costs for companies and ultimately for consumers. You may have noticed prices rising in grocery stores, restaurants, and even for basic services. For the broader economy, fewer workers can slow economic growth. Social programs like Social Security rely on a healthy ratio of workers to retirees. As that ratio declines, pressures on government budgets increase. Communities feel the impact as well. Healthcare, education, public safety, these critical sectors are facing staff shortages, leading to longer wait times, service disruptions, and added stress on remaining workers. Amid these changes, workers are asserting more control than ever. Across industries, employees are pushing back, demanding better pay, safer conditions, and more flexibility. Unionization efforts are rising, and labor strikes are becoming more common. The labor market has shifted from being employer-driven to worker-driven. Employers now compete for talent in new ways, offering perks, benefits, and flexible working conditions. This shift highlights a fundamental truth. Workers are no longer simply filling positions. They're reshaping the workplace itself. Automation and technology also factor into the shrinking workforce. Machines, AI, and software can replace some routine tasks, reducing the number of workers needed in certain areas. But while automation helps businesses become more efficient, it also creates a new challenge. Displaced workers need retraining to compete for the jobs of the future. Without this, shortages will persist in areas requiring human skills that cannot be automated. So, what can be done to address the shrinking workforce? Experts suggest several strategies. Investing in workforce training and education, especially in high-demand industries. Encouraging flexible work arrangements to accommodate changing lifestyles. Reforming immigration policies to supplement labor shortages. Supporting older workers who wish to stay in the workforce longer. Providing childcare and family support. Helping more people return to work. These measures aim to balance workforce participation with worker choice, creating an economy that benefits both businesses and employees. America's shrinking workforce isn't just a temporary problem. It's a reflection of deep, lasting changes in society, economy, and culture. Millions of workers have stepped away, shifted careers, or retired early. The ripple effects touch every aspect of life. Businesses struggle to hire, prices rise, public services face strain, and economic growth slows. But this is also an opportunity to rethink work, retrain the workforce, and create more flexible, meaningful jobs. The question is no longer just, where did everyone go? It's now, how will America redefine work in the years ahead? This is a pivotal moment in the story of the American workforce, and the choices made today will shape the economy, communities, and lives for decades to come. If you want to stay informed on workforce trends, economic shifts, and the forces shaping the future of work, subscribe to Nexus and hit the notification bell. The story of America's workforce is evolving, and it's a story we're all a part of. Thank you for watching. Stay informed, stay aware, and stay engaged.